Let me tell you what just went down, because the entire hip-hop world is literally holding its breath right now. Picture this. The rap game's biggest star, Drake, the guy who's been untouchable for over a decade, just got silenced. And not by some diss track, not by some leaked verse, and definitely not by a petty subliminal. Nope. Kendrick Lamar just played the boldest, coldest move anyone's ever seen in this industry and left Drake with absolutely nothing to say. We're talking checkmate. Straight up game over. And the craziest part? No one saw it coming. The second it happened, social media exploded. Hashtags flying, think pieces dropping like bombs, fans turning into detectives overnight searching for clues. This wasn't just another beef, it was history in the making, and suddenly it wasn't about who rapped better, who dropped the hottest verse, or who could throw the hardest punchline. It became about one thing: who controls the story. And right now, that crown is sitting heavy on Kendrick's head. Silence before the storm. Here's where it gets wild. Kendrick didn't announce anything. No teaser, no warning, not even a sly hint that he was cooking something up. He just disappeared. Poof. Gone. His accounts? Wiped clean. Twitter? Dead quiet. Fans were freaking out. Did Kendrick get hacked? Screenshots started circling everywhere. But the real ones, the fans who've been following his every move for years, whispered one thing: this is intentional. Then it happened. Out of nowhere, he drops a single black and white logo on every platform. No caption, no message, just that image. And within minutes, the world lit up. Hashtag Kendrick CHECKMATES was trending worldwide. Some thought it was a farewell, others thought it was the start of a new rollout. But those paying attention knew better. This wasn't marketing, it was messaging. The hidden play. And just when people were scratching their heads, rumors started spilling out. Rumors so wild that even the suits in boardrooms had to stop and listen. Word on the street? Kendrick had been making moves behind the scenes. And not just playlist spots or ad deals. Oh no, we're talking real power plays. Infrastructure, distribution pathways, algorithmic leverage, stuff that rappers never touch. Think about it. If Drake's entire empire flows through certain pipelines and Kendrick suddenly owns part of those pipelines, what happens? Exactly. The fight shifts. And just like that, whispers turned into panic. Executives were holding emergency meetings. Drake's OVO camp? Silent, but inside, sources say the tension was thick. Kendrick hadn't rapped a single bar, not one. But somehow, Drake's entire rollout calendar? Frozen? And the craziest flex. Kendrick didn't brag. No subliminals, no sneaky likes, no shady follows. Just silence. Hip-hop and shock podcasts went crazy. Real Rap Talk dropped a 2-hour special. DJ Academics went live, calling it the coldest, boldest move ever. Twitter turned into a chessboard. Memes everywhere. Drake as the king, Kendrick as the quiet rook sliding in for the kill. One viral TikTok said it perfectly. This isn't beef. This is architecture. Rolling Stone, Billboard, Complex. Every outlet ran with the story. The New York Times even stepped in. When rap stops rapping and starts restructuring. Like what? Fans who used to argue about who had the better bars suddenly found themselves talking about digital equity, ownership, and power. The battleground wasn't the booth anymore, it was the blueprint. But don't get it twisted, this was still about Drake. Drake the Giant. For over a decade, Drake has been hip-hop's golden boy. Chart-topping, genre-bending, unstoppable. Every diss that came his way, he turned it into fuel. Every competitor, outlasted. Drake wasn't just an artist, he was a system. Too fast, too smart, too big to fail. But then came Kendrick, and with one move, outside the music, outside the charts, he disrupted Drake's entire rhythm. This wasn't about who could rap better anymore, this was about who controlled the world rap lives in. And right now, industry insiders are calling it the pivot heard around the world. Some think Drake will clap back with music so undeniable that it resets the narrative. Others think he'll go quiet, plot something behind the scenes, maybe even double down with investments to outflank Kendrick. But for now, everyone's frozen, and Kendrick's silence? It's louder than anything we've ever heard. Here's what shook everyone the most. After Kendrick made his silent move, the entire hip-hop scene just stopped. Normally, when something big drops, the ripple effect is instant. Diss tracks, surprise singles, shady collabs, subliminal features, but this time, nothing. Dead stillness. No new Drake single. No leaked verses. No surprise guest spots to heat up the streets. Nothing. It was like the whole game hit pause, waiting to see what would happen next. That kind of stillness doesn't come often, and when it does, it's either the calm before a storm or the silence before something breaks. And while fans were panicking, the phone lines lit up. Executives, big names who never touch rap politics, were on late-night calls, whispering, "What just happened? What does Kendrick control now? Who's next to make a play like this?" Publicists were on alert, tracking every keyword. Hashtag Kendrick ownership, hashtag checkmate, hashtag streaming shift. It wasn't just cultural anymore, it was commercial. Suddenly everyone wanted to know who controls what and who's about to flip the board. The ripple effect. Other rappers started moving differently overnight. Lil Baby unfollowed label accounts and posted chess emojis. JID tagged Kendrick with the word blueprint. Tyler, the creator, he liked a post calling Kendrick's maneuver the quiet revolution. And that's when it hit people. This wasn't just one man making a power play. This was about to rewire the loyalty tree of the entire rap industry. Even Drake's closest allies started looking shaky. OVO collaborators, silent. Playlist curators who normally scream about everything Drake-related, neutral. Whispers spread that some of Drake's partners were hesitating, wondering if Kendrick's leverage might actually affect not just narrative, but reach. Imagine it. If the channels that feed music to the world even tilt slightly toward Kendrick, even for a week. That's chaos. Rollout plans worth millions? Out the window. Journalists turned detectives. The press went into full-blown investigation mode. Complex dropped a 5,000-word piece. Inside the chessboard, how Kendrick shifted power without dropping a bar. The Fader released a timeline, showing Kendrick's pattern of strategic silences going back years. And then came the bombshell. An anonymous streaming exec admitted, this isn't a diss, it's an infrastructure play. Drake's the biggest fish in the pond, but Kendrick just learned to control the pond itself. Fans were split down the middle. Hardcore Drake supporters called it smoke and mirrors, a hype trick, a stunt. Kendrick's fans, they called it a coronation. Not just King Kendrick on the mic, but King Kendrick in the boardroom. Twitter spaces became war zones. Hashtags trended side by side. Hashtag Drake responds when versus, hashtag KDOT King now. Every tiny move was dissected. Was Drake's silence a strategy or a stall? Was Kendrick's ownership stake symbolic or the real deal? And in that noise, one thing became crystal clear. Hip-hop had entered a new era. This wasn't just lyrical warfare anymore. This was structural. Drake's anger in silence. And here's the tea. Behind closed doors, Drake wasn't just quiet, he was furious. But not in a grab the mic, drop a diss kind of way. No, this was bigger. This was boardroom war anger. Sources whispered about emergency meetings in Toronto, lawyers, strategists, tech advisors. Drake wasn't asking, how do I out-rap Kendrick? He was asking, how do I keep the pipeline balanced? Because when your enemy doesn't fight with bars, but with infrastructure, you need a counter that's not made in Pro Tools, but in contracts, in servers, in influence networks. Rumors spread that Drake was exploring partnerships with other platforms, maybe even setting up his own hybrid lane, music meets tech, the kind of move designed to neutralize Kendrick's advantage. And if that's true, we're witnessing the biggest non-musical chess match in hip-hop history. Everyone watching, everyone shaking. Other rappers were already studying the blueprint. Some considered pivoting into infrastructure plays too, buying stakes, investing in distribution channels. Others doubled down on the old ways, betting that music will always beat mechanics. But one thing was undeniable. Fans weren't looking at the game the same way anymore. They weren't just debating bars. They were learning about leverage, timing, silence, and shock. Meanwhile, memes flooded the internet. Drake as the sweating king in Checkmate. Kendrick as the silent assassin with hidden queens on the board. TikToks layering chess sound effects over old interviews. People laughed, but beneath the humor, everyone knew. The power dynamic had shifted, and no one could tell where the pieces would land. Journalists, meanwhile, turned into detectives. Billboard teased a new index to track influence beyond streams. Pitchfork launched a midnight podcast titled Silence as Strategy, When Saying Nothing Speaks Loudest. People started asking, has hip-hop entered its own version of free agency? Are superstars no longer just switching labels, but rewriting the entire rulebook mid-season? And then came the leaks. Blurry screenshots of group chats. Producers allegedly debating which side to align with. Memes comparing Kendrick to a stealth CEO and Drake to a heavyweight suddenly forced to play chess instead of boxing. TikTok creators went wild, acting out parody boardroom meetings with rap battle sound effects. Everyone was laughing, but that laughter was nervous. Deep down, people knew this could get messy. Artists caught in the middle, rappers themselves were split. Some stayed neutral, posting nothing, terrified that even a single like could be read as choosing sides. Others sent signals, pawns, crowns, hourglasses, little chess emojis that had fans losing their minds. 21 Savage? He posted a plain black square. Thousands of comments instantly turned it into a think piece. Doja Cat liked a tweet saying, Kendrick moved like he already won. Every tiny move became a clue. Every clue became a headline. And every headline, another accelerant poured on this invisible fire. The rumors of a counter. Then came whispers, unconfirmed but too juicy to ignore, that Drake wasn't just sitting back. He was in quiet talks with tech innovators. The theory? If Kendrick bent the board through ownership stakes, Drake could tilt it back by controlling the way fans experience music. Imagine this. New distribution models, algorithm shifts, maybe even a platform that gives Drake the upper hand. Not a response in bars, but in bandwidth. This wasn't just beef anymore. It was business, and fans were glued to it like it was a Netflix thriller. Fans become detectives. Here's the crazy part. In the past, when rappers made business moves, it felt distant. Something for Wall Street, not the streets. But this time, fans were part of the tension. People were screenshotting trademark filings, digging into domain name purchases, even analyzing color palettes from Kendrick's posts. Hip-hop Twitter turned into half-rap blog, half-tech investment forum, and the irony? Every hour without a diss track felt louder than a diss track. The suspense itself was the show. Complex nailed it with one headline: "When the beat stops, the business screams."